Thanks, John.
We'll continue to monitor that. Meanwhile, let's bring in Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning, Sandra.
A lot to dig into there. So let's start off with Barr investigating the investigation. The U.S. attorney's been assigned from Connecticut, John Durham. Do you expect that there will be answers found? The president has insisted on finding the answers about federal surveillance. What do you think this leads to?
Well, I think this leads to giving the American people what they want in terms of accountability and transparency to see what really happened, what started the investigations. And I think we have to follow the path, and I agree with the Attorney General.
Congressman Steve Scalise joined us earlier, the House Majority Whip.
The Democrat Party was behind some of the information that was gathered. That was the basis for the investigation, and yet that wasn't presented to the FISA court the way it was supposed to be. All that ought to be looked into, because those would be clear abuses of power, and anyone who abused their power in a government position ought to be held accountable.
You really get the sense that things are moving along here with William Barr assigning the U.S. attorney. And you heard from Congressman Steve Scalise. We're hearing from an outpouring of Republicans who want answers, who want accountability. Senator, how would you characterize the situation today? It seems we're a far cry from where we were a few months ago.
Well, the Mueller report has come out that showed the president did not do the things he was accused of, and then it raises the question, how did this get started? I can tell you that I support what the Attorney General is doing, and I think Lindsey Graham, chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the Senate, is going to continue to pursue it.
Very interesting, because here is Senator Lindsey Graham on that.
I don't know this gentleman. Here's my concern. I've said I wanted to oversee what happened. I want to hold the FBI accountable, DOJ accountable for the FISA warrant abuse. Mr. Horowitz is going to issue his report. So I'm going to ask Mr. Horowitz, when his report's over, what can we do to make sure the FISA warrant process works better in the future?
Clearly, he means business, Senator. And to that point at the end there, what can we do so the FISA warrant process is better in the future?
Well, we need to continue to hold everyone accountable, because you're absolutely right. When you take a look at abuse of power, that applies at all levels. We're going to get to the root of this.
Obviously, a very busy morning, and there in Washington as this trade war continues, Senator, I've got to ask you what your level of concern is. As John Roberts just reported there, the markets seem to be taking a bit of a breather this morning, but it was quite a day on Wall Street yesterday, with the Dow falling more than 600 points. It lost more than 500 points last week alone. Where does this trade war go?
Well, I'm from Wyoming. We have products that we sell overseas: beef, trona, natural gas, coal. It's important for us to be able to trade. The president is right to hold China accountable. We know that they cheat. The tariffs are brought in my opinion, as just a means to an end, with the end being a solution. We need to have opportunities in China. We know they manipulate their currency. We know that they steal international property. They steal intellectual property. We know that they limit their markets. So it is our effort to make sure we get those markets open. I think the president is on the path to getting the deal. But what I hear at home and on Capitol Hill is we need to get a solution and get this behind us.
Senator Barrasso, you've spoken out about the Green New Deal. We know how you feel about that. They are still pushing this. And there was a rally headlined by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, Senator Markey, I believe, spoke at that. Very interesting observation some are making about those who spoke there. Did they actually vote about the Green New Deal?
You talk about the hypocrisy of this big green bomb. Of course they didn't vote for it when they were given a chance to vote for it in the United States Senate. Not a single Democrat voted for it. Look, this is something that is unworkable, it's unaffordable, it's unpopular. The United States, we have been lowering our emissions over the past dozen years. The cost of doing what they're proposing is so expensive, and it would blow a hole in our strong and healthy and growing economy. And to the Democrats, even the AFL-CIO has come out against this because of the impact this would have on millions of workers. But there they were last night, holding up this idea with a big banner, Green New Deal now. They had a chance to vote. they chose not to vote for it.
We hear you. And while you were talking, and while we were talking about trade, I just noticed the Dow now at its session highs, up a full percent, 241-point gain there. We will certainly
keep talking.
Senator Barrasso is the key to that rally there. All right, we'll be watching all of that. Senator Barrasso, thank you for your time this morning, sir.
Thanks, Sandra.